Good morning and welcome to day 15 of Vlogmas. I'm looking very creased today. It's a bit of a shame. I did it on the air, but then it's been shoved in a clean laundry basket for a few days before I've dug it out. I'm not going to iron it. It's comfy, it's cozy, it's fine. You'll just have to put up with me being crumpled and creased. Good morning. Today is a proper work day again. I am now back to work properly after my slightly more relaxed week. I am dyeing up a lot of Lord of the Rings yarn today. I think it's mostly your Lord of the Rings yarn today, and then tomorrow I'm going to make a start on the clubs. Looking at the numbers, as long as everything dries quickly and I get a chance to skein it and there's no big spanners thrown in the works, then I should manage to get everything shipped before Christmas, which would be amazing, as I said before, because it would be really nice actually to kind of just have it a clean slate going into the new year. So yeah, fingers crossed that should all work out okay. So yeah, Lord of the Rings yarn today, then I'm going to get some club yarn dyed tomorrow, and then it'll be a bit more club yarn dyed on Monday. And I think that should be all of it. Fortunately, I dyed a fair amount when I was doing the yarn for the photos and things like that, and also I dyed across a few different bases, so I've actually been able to draw some of the yarn from that, so there's less that I need to dye. I've been organised, it's good. It was also one of my smallest pre-orders of the year, which was completely expected because of the timing of it. A pre-order launching at the beginning of December is never going to do massively well because everybody needs to spend their money on lots of other things, so it's completely understandable. But I will be bringing the colourways back at some point next year for a second chance, so it's not a problem, and I'm quite grateful it's been a smaller pre-order because it means that it's going to be a bit more relaxed and a bit easier for me, which is lovely. Right, I am waiting for yarn to heat up in the oven. So I've made myself a cup of tea and I'm going to sit and do a little bit of knitting, I think, while I wait for that. And then I need to do some admin stuff. I need to check some orders. I need to check some emails and do all of those kind of boring things that relate to being a yarn dyer as well.
Dear, the forecast ain't clear, so will you please light my way and lead this old man's sleigh? I said, Rudolph, my friend, once more will you lend your red nose, or heaven knows how this sleigh ride will end. My man, you're the only one who can save the day. Say yea or nay. Now will you pull my sleigh? My boy, now don't you act so coy. Let us go and fill all the little children's hearts with joy.
Dyeing uses a lot of water, so one of the things I do try and do is reuse as much water as possible. I have multiple trucks on the floor, which I'll show you in a second. One of which is my soaking one, so my pre-soak bucket basically, which contains water and vinegar for pre-soaking, because vinegar is the acid that I use to set my yarn. Some people use citric acid, but I prefer to use vinegar. I don't know, it just suits me better. I then have another one which you will have just seen me filling up, which has a little bit of wool wash in it. I use Eucalan. I used to use Soak, but I can get Eucalan wholesale now, so I can get a bigger bottle of it basically. And then just some water in there. And then that is like the post soak. So once the yarn is dyed, it has a little soak in that to make sure all the dye is washed off, any excess dye is washed off, and things like that. So they're the big buckets that I have on the floor. And I try and reuse as much as possible. So I will use, if my post dyeing bucket stays completely clear, which it generally does, because yarns usually, what's the word I want? Can't think of the word I want. The yarns usually exhaust, so the dye exhausts in the pan. There's no dye left, it's all adhered to the yarn. So generally then I can reuse that soak thing continually. That will get used all day. And then if it's still clear, I will reuse it the next day as a pre-soak bucket. I'll just add vinegar in it. The wool wash won't affect the yarn. So that's not an issue. I can add vinegar to it and I can use it as a pre-soak, so that will get plenty of use out of it. The pre-soak bucket, the vinegar in that tends to deplete during the day anyway, because obviously I'm putting dry yarn in and that soaks up lots of water and then gets transferred into the pan, so I often have to refill that anyway. But when I'm getting towards the end of a day or the end of a use of a bucket, I will actually use that water in my pans rather than filling them up from the tap. Because that's fine, that's not an issue doing it that way round. And then what I'll also do during the day is my pans that I'm using for batch, say pans for batch number 1, as long as all the dye has exhausted and there's no dye left in the pans, I can actually reuse the water from the pans to dye the next batch of yarn as well. And in fact, actually, it's quite helpful if I can do that, because it means that the water's already hot, which means that I don't need to waste time heating water up or heating yarn up. I can just stick it in with the hot water and put the dye in straight away, and that works really, really nicely. So this one here is my pre-soak bucket. This has already had 2 lots of yarn pre-soak in it actually. I did have to top it up a little bit last time, but I'm not looking, it doesn't look like I'll need to top it up this time. That should be enough water in there. And then this is my post-soak, my post-dyeing soaking bucket. So all this yarn has been dyed, the water all exhausted. So I do mix colourways in here, because actually all of this yarn has exhausted anyway, so there's no risk of the contamination between them. It was all exhausted, it was absolutely fine. If I'm a little bit worried about a colourway, or there's a really vast difference between 2 colourways, I will do the post-soak in a washing up bowl for the colourway that I'm worried about. Maybe give it a couple of rinses in there before it gets combined in with the rest of the colourways. But that's not often. Most of the time I can just stick them in together and it's not an issue.
Rudolph, my dear, you know the forecast ain't clear, so will you please light the way and lead old Santa sleigh? Yeah, lead old Santa sleigh. Come on and lead old Santa sleigh. Hey, let's do it one more time, one more time.
Right, I've just turned off the oven and the burner, and the last of the yarn is just in there cooling down. Well, setting and cooling down. The oven keeps its temperature for quite a long time, so it's quite nice that the final batch I can just put the dye in, stick it in the oven and just turn it off and leave it for a couple of hours, and it'll all set absolutely fine, so it saves a bit of electricity. I tried to get as much footage as I could of dyeing today, but I was battling steam. I had my window open in the utility room, but I think the combination of the cold outside and the steam and the hot water and everything just meant my camera kept steaming up. So it was a little bit of a challenge. So hopefully when I come to edit it, it's not all just going to be steamed up footage. There might be a few slightly frosty footage. Almost that kind of no, what's the word I want? Hazed kind of look to the footage. If there is, it's the steam. I apologise for that. But I wanted to show you something. I am up to date with the Mystery Gnome knit along. So the last actual day of knitting was the 12th of December. Today is the 14th, this video will be going up on the 15th, so hopefully there won't be any spoilers. You'll all be either up to date, at least up to date with the clues, even if you're not quite up to date with the knitting. But I am going to show you, because we have finished something. Look, we have a snowman. How cute is he? I'm so pleased with him. I'm using my heritage kit because I was one of the official dyers for the mystery knit along this year. I had sneak peek of what we're actually knitting, and I also dyed up kits. I dyed 3 different kits. And interestingly, the heritage kit, which is the one that I've picked, was a kit that was a little bit different to what was expected. Because as Sarah said in the pre-knit along information, one of your colours should really be an orange or something within the orange family. And now we have a snowman, you can probably see why an orange was suggested. And that is because obviously we have a snowman's nose. Now, my snowman, as you can see, has a purple nose. And there was reasoning behind that. It wasn't just a random colour choice. And that is because you can get purple carrots, heritage carrots, which are purple. So I wanted something that was little bit different, but I still wanted it to be carrot coloured. So I do actually have a little bit of footage I'll pop in right now while I'm talking to you, because the first veg box that I shared with you earlier this month came with some carrots, and when we washed them off, lo and behold, 1 or 2 of them, I can't quite remember, were purple. So as you can see, you do indeed get purple carrots, and we call them, I don't know if they're generally known as this or if it's just, I think they're generally known as heritage carrots, because it's something to do with like the history of carrots and the fact that purple ones used to be a lot more common. But yeah, you do in fact get purple carrots. So therefore, my snowman has a purple carrot nose, and I'm so pleased with it. So yeah, that was the thinking behind my heritage kits and why you have a purple nose instead of an orange nose if you've gone with one of those kits. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to everyone. What else was I going to share with you? Oh yeah, I got a little parcel in the post today. I ordered, continuing on from my candle making, I ordered a few little bits and pieces from Cozy Owl, who are a company that do candle making stuff, and I ordered some candle glitter. So I got some kind of multicoloured glitter. I only got 4. I got some multicoloured ones. I got some blues. And I got just some small silver. That one's not going to focus because it's too shiny. Some small silver. And then I also got some big gold hearts as well, to put on the top of candles. I've also ordered some mica powder, which a couple of people said actually works really well as a dye and gives it a little bit of a shimmer as well. So I thought I would try those out. I do want to make some more candles for Christmas. Now I've given it a bit of a go. I want to have one more go and make a couple just for like friends and family and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to go back to the ones that I made the other day and just melt the tops slightly and put a little bit of the glitter on to make them pretty. I did light one of the tea light candles last night. You will have seen that in yesterday's clip, me lighting it. We did light that last night and it smelled very nice. It's probably not as strong as like a candle that you'd buy normally, and I don't quite know, that might be to do with the temperature I'm putting it in. I don't quite know why, because I'm putting in the amount it says I should be putting in, so I'm not really sure. But it was still very pleasant and very nice, and I was very, very happy with it. So I'm definitely gonna give that a little bit more of a go, just for fun and just to have more candles at home. And I'm gonna try it out with some of the glitter as well to make them pretty. There were more things I wanted to say. I have, unfortunately today, frogged my mum's hat. So I was knitting the Frosted Peaks hat by Yarnia Designs, and there is nothing wrong with the pattern. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, but I do not have the concentration span at the moment. I kept making mistakes, and then I finally made a mistake on a row and I couldn't work out where the mistake was, and I couldn't face tinking it back because I think it was a couple of rows back, I don't know. So I have frogged it and I have found a new pattern. I am now doing another hat pattern that is simpler. It is called Fuzz the Night Before. I'll pop a picture up here, by Christianistic Designs. And it looks a lot simpler. It's mostly just knits and pearls, and it creates kind of a textured hat pattern. It's also got a 2x2 rib, so getting through that rib again will be a lot quicker. So yeah, I'm going to cast this one on, I think, and hopefully that will go a little bit quicker, a little bit simpler, and I won't make as many mistakes. I have also decided on a sock pattern for the next Chromatic Yarns colourway. This was, I've forgotten what this one was called now. This was Modify Memory. I need to find some needles. But I am doing the Twinkle Toes pattern, which is a free pattern from Winwick Mum, but it's one of the West Yorkshire Spinners patterns. Again, I'll pop a picture up on the screen. It's really hard to see the actual pattern, I think, in these West Yorkshire Spinners patterns, because they're always knit up in the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, and it's quite a busy yarn, so it does hide the details of the pattern a little bit. But I had a little closer look, and it does look really pretty. So I'm going to go with this one. It's one of the ones that's in the bundle that we have on Ravelry. So yeah, I'm hoping to dig out some needles and maybe get that one cast on. I don't know quite whether I'll get it cast on tonight, because I really should focus on my mum's hat and getting that cast on. But we've got a couple of quiet evenings coming up, so hopefully there's a little bit more knitting time and I can get caught up on some of those projects, because I would like to get all of these socks at least cast on and through the first rib before Christmas, or sort of before the new year, let's say, and they can be nice projects going into the new year with me.
Before we go to karate, there's one more thing we need to do. Joke of the day. What's a cat's favourite colour?
Did you just knock a bauble off the Christmas tree?
Anyways, what's a cat's favourite colour?
I don't know. What is a cat's favourite colour?
Purple.